Layton Bush. I'm so excited to get a chance to talk to you today about where it's going as far as your teaching instructional plan, and then just kind of catch up on this year and see just how successful you've been. Do you mind sharing with us or sharing with me how everything's going so far?
Sure, I think it's going really well. The plan that we've been working on as far as my instruction, I think has been really good, and just using the different things that we talked about to kind of maximize my teaching, which helps them and everything, has been really good. And I think that the kids are making progress and I'm making progress, and I think it's been really good.
So some of the strategies or that you've been using, do you mind sharing with me?
Oh, sure. We talked about using the timer piece for me to kind of make sure that I'm doing mini lessons instead of long mini lessons, and just making sure that I use my time effectively, so that the instructional time is maximized and the kids get the most out of it. We really use that, and I think we talked about Class Dojo too, and using the popsicle sticks to call on a variety of kids. And those were all those things that we put together to help everything go smoothly, and I think it's really working.
Okay. So you've noticed that by using the timer as well as Class Dojo, some technology, as well as the popsicle sticks to call on the students, you found that some success in student involvement as well. Do you find a difference in your teaching as well through the instruction?
Yeah, I find that it just, I really, I hone in more on what the kids need. And so, because we also talked about checklists and using a checklist, and so I use it for a couple of things. One, to tell me, like this one is just with the standards and what standards we are learning about, and this is an old one. But then I can look at it and see quickly that, oh, these kids need more work on problem solving with measurement. And I could see here that, oh, they can measure things fine, so I don't need to teach that as much, but I can focus in on this. And so I'm not teaching them things that they're like, oh, I already know it. And so then, you know, they don't want to pay attention or be on task as much and things like that. So it really helps with that. And then I also use it just as a something to keep track of how my progress is going, and can I see who's on task and who's not, and when are they on task, and the same thing with the standards too, I guess. How do they get this piece, do they not get this piece? And so it really is informative for me.
So I guess it sounds as if you're saying that the student coaching plan that we worked on with behavior, focusing on and increasing student involvement, is also connected with your teaching plan and your maximizing instruction. And some of the ways that you found helpful to help you to organize yourself as well as the students, and to see just where you're lacking in certain areas, is using checklists. Now the checklist that I'm seeing here is that one for the standards. Did you also have one for the student behavior as well? Okay.
Yeah, so I have two.
Okay, good. Do you find that the strategies used, do you think that you're going to hold on to them for next year, or do you find that some of them you have to throw out and start back over fresh and new? What do you think about for planning, as far as planning for next year's group of kids? What would you do?
I think a lot of it I will hang on to for next year, and I think it would be wonderful if I start from the beginning of the year and just keep that consistency. I think when we talked about Class Dojo, it's something that I've used in the past, and I would always abandon it mid-year. And so, and this year I'd even started it and then got away from it, and then have come back to it after we talked. And I think next year what I would do is go ahead and keep it from the beginning of the year, introduce the kids to it early. And what I'm doing now is something that kind of ties into what they're doing in the cafeteria, and just when they get to so many points, they can come get a coupon. And then when they get to the next set of points, then they can go to the treasure box. So then, you know, it's a lot easier, and I think it's going to work a lot better. So yeah, I'll definitely hang on to all that stuff next year and start it and just, you know, use it from the beginning.
So your use of the resources you feel are effective, but you also want to make sure that you're consistent and starting and not stopping, and because you feel like it's working for your kids, and it probably will work for next year's group as well. And then it kind of, I guess, it sounds as if you're tying it into a school-wide plan as well, and so the students should be pretty familiar with it. And do you find that the students' behavior has decreased as far as the off-task behavior? Has it decreased over time? I know that was one of the first plans that we worked on, and when I observed the students, there was about 85% of the students were on task, and we talked about how in some ways that we could work on those students that were off task. And then when I came back in again, I noticed a difference, but now, I know that we're not on that particular plan, but have you been consistent in keeping that up? I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's really good because I've noticed that the same kids that we talked about, they are doing much, much better. Okay. Yeah, and it's carried over and continued, so that's excellent. And I like that the things that we've been working on have been interconnected, because that means that I'm still working on those things and growing along with them. So I think that's cool.
Well, I know when we talked about your the teacher keys as far as your observation, I know at the time that we spoke, when you planned your instructional tool and maximizing student achievement, you had recently had an observation at that time. Well, now at the end of the year, I believe we had a second observation. Do you mind sharing with me?
Oh, sure. We met actually this week and just talked about how I've done for the year, and I was really pleased, and I feel like I agree with everything. And as far as like curriculum and planning, I got proficient, and for the standards-based instruction, proficient. And then for assessment of student learning, I got mostly proficient, but right here with teacher uses a variety of summative strategies to evaluate student status and to adjust instruction in order to maximize student achievement on the Common Core standards. I got emerging, so I was thinking that would be a very natural next step for us, is to, okay, now that we're doing all this, can we work on a variety of summative strategies now to make sure that the kids are learning everything that they need to? So I think that would be a great next goal for if we could.
That would be great. I would love to work with you as we finish up the end of the year, moving so that you can have proficiency all the way down. Because that's the only area that we see as far as needing some improvement. Are there any, and you can think about any other areas, and not necessarily connected to the teacher keys, any other areas. It's really been a pleasure working with you, and it just seems so smooth. It really goes. I've had a wonderful time just coming into your classroom, and I feel like this will be easy to change. This is something that we can change with no problem. Because I've seen it in your classroom, and maybe at the time they weren't able to observe it, but just making sure that the students are familiar and have that again, have that sense of this is what we do every single time, and then I'm sure they'll be able to pick that up, and you'll be able to move over to proficient.
That would be great.
Are there any other concerns or any other concerns about the teacher plan and where we're moving at this point?
No, I don't think I have any concerns. I'm just really, I've enjoyed working. I'm glad you said that. I've enjoyed working with you too, and thank you so much for just helping me grow into a better teacher. That's my overall goal, because, as we've said many times, we're here for the kids, so thank you.
And I feel like you are here for the kids. While we're working together, not only have some of your checklists and stuff helped you, but it's also helped me in my classroom, and I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. What some of the things that we're working on together, I'm like, oh, I can use some of that in my classroom as well. So I appreciate this opportunity, and thank you.
Thank you.
We'll meet again on Wednesday.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Sounds good.
Let's see what time it is.